The helicopter lifts off the deck. Below it, the last thing connecting these men to land disappears into the fog. For the next 28 days, not one of them will touch solid ground. No streets, no cars, no going home. Just steel, salt water, and the machine they have come to feed. Most people picture an oil rig as a place you go to work. It isn't. It's a place you go to live. So the real question was never how they drill for oil. It's this: how does a human being actually survive out there, sealed off from the world for a month at a time? Picture a structure the size of a small town, standing on legs, in water deeper than a skyscraper is tall. The nearest hospital is not down the road. It's a helicopter flight away. Sometimes more than an hour, if the weather even lets a helicopter fly at all. There is no calling in sick, no stepping outside for air. If a storm rolls in, no one is coming to get you. You are 100 miles from the coast, and the only way off is the same way you came on. And here's the strange part. Before these workers are even allowed to board, they have to prove they can survive the trip itself. Every one of them straps into a mock helicopter cabin. It's lowered into a pool, then it's flipped upside down, underwater, in the dark. They have to unbuckle, find a window, and swim out. Because if a real helicopter ever goes down over the sea, that is exactly what they will have to do. Pass it, and you've earned the right to fly out. Fail it, and you never leave the shore. The flight itself can take 2 hours. The men wear bright survival suits the whole way, packed shoulder to shoulder, the noise too loud to talk over. Then the platform appears, a gray shape rising out of open water, with a landing deck painted on top, barely bigger than a tennis court. The moment their boots hit that deck, a clock starts. 28 days, and it will not stop for anything. Their first stop is the cabin, and here's the first thing that surprises every new worker. Space offshore is not measured in rooms. It's measured in inches. A typical cabin is shared. 2 or 4 men, to a space smaller than a budget hotel room. Bunk beds, 1 thin locker each. A bathroom shared between cabins. That's it. But there's a reason it works. The man in the bunk above you is almost never there when you are. Because on a rig, nobody really sleeps at the same time. The platform never stops, not for a single second. The drilling runs 24 hours a day, every day, for the entire time you're out there. So the crew is split in 2, 12 hours on, 12 hours off. One man works while his roommate sleeps. Then they swap, day shift and night shift, passing each other in the doorway like ghosts. For 28 days, some of these men will barely see daylight at all. Now, the part nobody expects. The food on an oil rig is good, genuinely good. And that is not an accident. When you take away a man's home, his family, and the ground under his feet, food becomes the one comfort left. So the galley, the kitchen, becomes the beating heart of the platform. It runs around the clock. Hot meals at every shift change. Steak, curry, fresh bread, desserts. A table of snacks that never empties. A single offshore cook can prepare thousands of meals in one rotation, in a kitchen bolted to a platform in the middle of the ocean. Heavy work burns enormous energy. Some of these men eat 5,000–6,000 calories a day just to keep up. Out here, a good cook isn't a luxury. He's morale itself. And here's the detail you'd never guess. There is no alcohol. None. Not a single beer, anywhere on the platform, for the entire 28 days. A rig is what they call a dry installation. One spark in the wrong place, one moment of dull judgment around that much pressure and gas, and people die. So the strongest thing served at dinner is coffee, and the coffee, they'll tell you, is sacred. The work itself is brutal. On the drill floor, crews called Roughnecks handle sections of steel pipe that weigh more than a car, swinging on chains, in wind, in rain, in the dark. The margin for error is measured in inches, and this is where the danger lives. Deep below the platform, immense pressure is being held back by the equipment they operate. When something shifts down there, the crew has seconds to react, not minutes, seconds. Alarms, shouted commands. Every man moving to a position he has drilled 100 times. They don't panic, because panic is the thing that gets people killed. They've trained for this exact moment so many times that their hands move before their minds do. And then, if they've done it right, it passes. The alarm stops. and they go back to work like nothing happened. Because out here, that is simply the job, but sometimes it doesn't pass cleanly. There is a medic on board for exactly this reason. A small sick bay, one trained person, and a radio. They can handle cuts, breaks, burns, the everyday damage of heavy industry. But a serious injury changes everything. Because the nearest real hospital is that helicopter flight away, and if the weather has turned, that helicopter cannot come. So a man can be hurt, stabilized, and then simply waiting for the sky to clear enough to fly him home. It's one of the quietest, hardest truths of life offshore. Help is not a phone call away. Help is a flight that may not be able to take off. Then, finally, the off shift. 12 hours. But sleep out here is its own strange thing. The platform hums 24 hours a day. Engines, drilling, the constant grind of steel. It never goes quiet. Men learn to sleep through noise that would keep anyone else awake all night. And when they're not sleeping, they're fighting something harder than exhaustion. Boredom, isolation, the same faces, the same corridors, the same gray water in every direction, day after day after day. There's a gym, a small television room, a phone signal that comes and goes. Some men lift weights, some call home when they can, some just stare at the sea. 28 days is a long time to be alone in a crowd. If you're the kind of person who wants to see what these jobs actually cost the people who do them, not the hype, the reality, subscribe. Because on this channel, every job answers the same question. Somebody does the work everyone else avoids. The question is always what it costs them. And then, one morning, it's over. The helicopter comes back. The next crew steps off it, fresh, pale, carrying bags. Your crew climbs on, and the platform shrinks behind you until it's just a gray dot on the water. You'd think that would feel like joy. Most of them will tell you it doesn't. Not exactly, because here is what 28 days out there really costs. While these men were sealed off in the middle of the ocean, life on land kept moving without them. Birthdays passed. A child took their first steps. An argument went unfinished. A parent got older. They missed all of it. And there was no leaving early. Half their lives are spent somewhere their family cannot picture and will never see. And the men who do this for years describe the same strange thing. They come home, and for a few days, home doesn't quite fit. The quiet feels too quiet. The bed feels too soft. Their kids have to get to know them again. Then, just as they've settled back into being a father, a husband, a normal person on solid ground, the phone rings, and it's time to fly back out. 28 days on, 28 days off, a life lived in halves. That is the real price of the paycheck, not the danger they can see coming, the time they can never get back. So the next time you fill up your car, and never once think about where that fuel came from, remember the men 100 miles offshore who didn't come home for a month to make it possible. Somebody does the work the rest of us never have to think about. And when that helicopter finally lifts them off the deck, they don't feel relief. They feel the 28 days it took to earn it.